Mic check. One Masters Podcast, your host, man, of course. I got two special guests with me, sitting across from me real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce yourselves real quick to the camera.
Hi, it's Arnika Nunley.
Juana Nunley.
How y'all doing?
We're doing good.
Right. How
So
are you?
I'm doing good. Considering, but I know I wanted to kind of talk to y'all. Y'all came from California, right? So it's a
Yes.
pretty good distance. How y'all flight was?
The flight was pretty good. Oh my God. The layover at JFK was just out of control. But other than that, the flight was
Why didn't y'all go to New York instead of like Charlotte or like Atlanta?
Right.
I don't know. JetBlue. And so, JetBlue doesn't fly everywhere anyway.
Okay.
But that was where we had the layover at. Plus, for me, because I'm a New Yorker, I was like, okay, I get to go home and sit in JFK for a little bit. And then I had a breakdown when I took off.
Do you miss it? Because you're from New York, you miss it like
Yes,
a lot.
I do. Not enough to move back.
Oh,
but
of
I
course not.
definitely
Yeah,
miss it.
it's definitely different now anyway. So,
Oh yes.
okay. So, first, I guess I start with you. So we break you because I think she can talk. So we're gonna break you first, right? So tell a little bit about yourself, just your upbringing, where you from.
Well, like I said, my name is Arnika, or Nika, as they like to call me. I'm from Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, born and raised, and I moved to California 22 years ago. Mid-20s. That's telling my age. I grew up in the projects, Tompkins Projects, and I knew I wanted to get out, though. I knew I did not want to live in the projects for the rest of my life. I knew I wanted to travel and do other things. And thank goodness for my mom, who would send me away every summer to visit in Chicago and visit here in Augusta. I used to come here the summers as well, and Miami, Florida. And that was got my juices going with wanting to travel and be in other places.
That's dope. Like, I guess you mind if I ask you how you get your nickname? Cause I'm young, so I know we called you something different. So I just want to know like where it came from.
Well, Nika is short for Nika, but a lot of my babies call me Ika, and that's because I used to love bananas, and still do.
Got you.
And so they used to call me Eek Eek. And then, of course, Jermaine and Ty and Tanya, they started calling me Ika.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
just kind of got caught on to that.
Okay. What about you? Like, where you from? What's your upbringing like?
I was born in Chicago, raised in Wisconsin, so I'm definitely hands down a Wisconsinite, even though, I was born as an Illinoisan, but I'm a Wisconsinite, went to school in Wisconsin, graduated from college in Wisconsin, moved to Cali in 2005. And that's how I
way
met
after
Nika.
you, right? When
Yeah.
you moved,
Oh, yeah. I was already there for these 5
Yeah,
years.
I had moved there in 2005, and then I met Nika in 2009.
Yep.
Yeah, 2009. Yeah, so my upbringing pretty much raised in Wisconsin, raised off and on by my grandmother, and then in and out of the foster care system, and some points in my life when my grandma was ill, but pretty much raised by my grandmother in the system.
Well, I guess I want to dig more into you a little bit. Like, how was life like for you coming up, being raised? That's your real grandmother? Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
my mom's mother.
So how was it like not being raised by your parents, but being raised by your grandmother?
Man, my grandma was the best. They always say the grandma's on your mama's side. You know what I mean? Those are the ones that you're close to. Same here for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, my grandma, she was the bomb, but she was also the only child. So we got a pretty small family. She had 4 kids of her own, and my mom was the only girl.
Okay.
And so then my mom had 3 girls and 1 boy. And she was always a spoiled kid. My mom was, and so like she had a pretty when I say spoiled, but then she kind of got wild, and then with that wild life, she kind of went distant, and my grandma raised us. And then my grandma was sickly, and so in and out of her being sick, we was in foster care system, sometimes raised by some folks at our church, and then sometimes not, But
was that
other
like
than
rough for you though, like to go in and out, like, cause I only
little
asked
bit.
that because I know like, and you were young, right? So a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I know like when you were a kid, people we play, but it's a lot of harsh things that be said. You know what I'm saying? When you playing, cause you're just trying to get the one up. You're not thinking about what the person thinking like. So
Right.
I don't know like some of the things you might have heard or went through within them transitions, because there's a lot of transitions for a kid to go through.
Yeah, a lot of transitions. Honestly, it was rough, but it kind of it was, everybody deals with it differently. For me, it kind of made me stronger. I was the oldest of 4, you know what I mean? So my siblings was younger than me. So my mindset was more of like, I want to do what I can. And so that when I'm 18, I can get my siblings out of foster care. And when I turned 17 and a half, I did that. I got my siblings out of foster care and I raised them and went to college with my siblings, with me.
That's dope.
And without welfare with my siblings. And so, that was my motivation. But some, my other siblings, some of them didn't do the same thing. So it kind of motivated me. I guess I had a different mindset. And not everybody, but I went through some trauma. Yeah, I went through some trauma. Went through some challenges, some issues, but it was that made me a lot stronger. And then raising my brother and my sister. She was 7 when I got her. When I was 17, she was 7. My brother was 13 at the time, and they're my babies. Those are my babies, and I raised them till they was 18. Now they out with their own kids and doing their own thing. And so we became foster parents. Yeah. To kind of give back in that way, because she had a foster experience as well. So the trauma has made me a lot stronger, but then now I'm able to give back in that same way to some of the kids who are in foster care right now, who are like really struggling with it. Because life was a little different. My mom, even though she was in the drugs then, she kept it away from us. So we never experienced seeing her high, seeing her drugged up or anything. She kept it away from us. And, a lot of people didn't even know my mama had kids. Wow. Because she kept it away from us. She never came around with the drama. Gotcha. She kept the drama away from us, so we never really got to experience it deep down. Like, there are some things we experienced when we was living with her, but as far as like, growing up, it was going from home to home, dealing with the fear of my grandma being old, having a stroke, diabetes, things of that. Those are the fears and the traumas we had. At that age,
did you, like, when you going from home to home, do you know what's going on? You just think it's normal, or do you know it's something wrong, but they just making it away?
No, I knew what was going on. Okay. Probably my brother, he deal with it a lot worse. You know what I mean? My other sister too, she deal with it, really bad. We're not really close, and because of that, we was close in age. Gotcha. We was close in age, but I only got my younger brother and my younger sister out of foster care because my other sister and I was too close in age, and gotcha. I was a baby myself.
I know this is out of the thing, but I have to ask, like, so with this sister that's close in age, do you feel like she felt some kind of resentment for you not being able to get her? Or
absolutely, still to this day. Okay. A lot of resentment. But I was like I said, I was a baby. Right. You know what I mean? So with us being so close in age, it's almost like you have a sibling who's close in age. They don't listen. Yeah. They, how you gonna tell me what to do? You're not in charge. Yeah. Right. You're not in charge. And so that was a challenge for me, and so my younger siblings, they respected me differently. And so I was able to parent them, at 17 years old. I got custody of them directly when I turned 18, got my first apartment, my first car, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. And they listen. Then they still respect me in that way to this day. Those are my babies, you know what I mean? And I raised them as such. I didn't want them to experience what I experienced and care, Not that all the experiences were bad, but not all of them was good either. True. It's been some bad ones. But yeah, those are my babies. I mean, she my baby too, but the way she look at it differently, because we were so close in age. And yes, the resentment definitely is there.
I asked that because I did an interview with one of my cousins the other day. I did their whole family, so their dad, their sister, and 2 brothers. But I did the oldest brother last, and I asked him, I said, well, I know when we was younger, y'all always kind of gave Messiah a hard time. So I wondered if y'all ever felt resentment for your dad being able to change his life and raise him as opposed to coming to get y'all, And he admitted, he said, yeah, I did, I guess at the time not knowing, but subconsciously that's what it was, Mm-hmm. But like you say, one thing that I like about your responses is that you big up your grandmother for doing what she did. I think with the cousins that I grew up with, when they were younger, instead of like looking at it one way, like we in a better space, we here, they just always looked at it like, oh, my parents come get me. But that wasn't mm-hmm. the better. That wasn't the grass being greener. Right. And I think one of them did get to experience that. they did go to live with their mom for a little while. And I even asked Kasha, I told her, and she was like, well, yeah, I lived with her for a little while, and then I realized that that's not where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. You know, it wasn't grandma. You know what I'm saying? So that's really her mom, technically speaking. So, yeah, I think when you're younger, I don't know if they ever changed. They still might have resent. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I know that me seeing that, I get to see it firsthand with them. So I've always tried to like play the middleman and just be cool with everybody. But Nika, I ask you, as far as your hierarchy or like the status, and how many siblings you have, and
I am number 5 of
I call all your auntie. I think y'all my cousins, but I call all your auntie because y'all just that much older than me. So okay, you want to make sure we know.
Yeah,
okay.
And I do the same with Deborah. Deborah's my cousin, but I call her auntie because she's so much older. I'm still being disrespectful by calling her by her first name.
I just thought auntie meant like seniority type thing. I thought cousins we around the same age. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wrong. I was wrong. It's all good.
I am number 5 of 5. So Easter had Alicia, Diane, Donna, Dwayne, and me.
Okay.
And then, of course, when I turned 12, Easter became a foster parent. So we had foster children in the house. We did babies. We didn't do teenagers or toddlers or big kids. So I've been in foster care.
Oddly enough, I feel like I remember 12. That. Did it have a... I remember my baby now. I remember my baby being around. I don't know the name, but I remember somebody being around. I don't know where they are now, but I remember that. Okay.
Yeah. Anytime you seen any babies in the house, that was Easter being a foster parent.
Okay.
Yeah. I had my dad in my life, but he was married. He had another family living in Brooklyn as well. But he was there on the weekends, so I saw my dad every weekend. We had a great relationship. Him and my mom, they got along. No issues involved. So
how was it being the youngest though? You got some rough siblings too.
I got some. Don't I have some rough siblings?
I'm gonna say that. I'm just one of them really rough. I can't speak for all of them, but Leisha's very rough.
Oh boy, do we know she is. She's the oldest, and so she wants to be the hierarchy. She wants to be the mother, the father, the big sister, and the big brother. But
you gotta love her.
But because our age difference is so wide, Alicia's 16 years older than me, and then Diane, Donna, Dwayne, it kind of trickles down to 15 and 14 years. So when Easter had me, I was kind of a surprise. Easter was 35 years old, so everybody was just like, "You pregnant, having a baby? Ain't nobody babysitting." But they wound up loving me and taking me in and letting me be their little sis, is what Alicia and Diane used to call me all the time. And so it was tough, but I always had your mom, Tanya and Nisi and Adrian, and I always had them to those were sort of like my sisters.
That's what I was going to say. To me, it seemed like y'all was sisters.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I called you auntie too, not knowing. But it seemed like y'all was sisters more than like cousins. Y'all hung around all the time.
Yes, I grew up with Tanya, Trina as well. That's another cousin due to a marriage that Easter had in the family, but she's still blood no matter what. But yeah, Tanya, Trina, Nisi, Adrian, those were my sisters. Carl and Kenny and Michael, those were my brothers.
And I was telling somebody the other day, I said, for all my life really when I was younger, but it was a certain period of time where you watched us like a lot every day. My mother was working, I think, right?
Yes.
And I said, the first time I ever had like a temper tantrum, I always feel bad because it was with Nika. I don't know why, and I still don't know why I did that. I don't know, but it was somebody making the bed up, and I just got mad, and I just took all the sheets off the bed, and I don't know why I did it. I still don't know to this day, right? But she was so calm. She didn't like get mad. She was like, "It's okay, like da da da." Now like it's not my mom. My mom would have smacked me. You know what I'm saying? And I remember my dad being in the other room, not saying nothing at all. So I'm like, okay, he ain't gonna say nothing. So I don't know. But I just was mad. I don't know. But I always feel bad about that. I don't know. I just don't know why I spazzed out.
She talk about y'all all the time.
Yes.
But we had fun. Like we did a lot of fun stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness, yes. I love them to death. I mean, Tanya could have never ever kept them away from me, even if she tried. When she asked the babysit, yes, I'm coming over there. I pretty much lived in the house with y'all while she worked through the week, and then I would go home on the weekends.
She'd send me to the store, I went to the corner store. She'd watch me from the window. I remember one time they tried to play me. They gave me back the wrong chain. She had to spaz out, go up there. And I never seen a spaz before, so when she went that spaz, and I was wrong. So I felt bad because I put in a bad predicament. But they gave me the right chain. I just had it in my pocket. But the first time, and speaking of Alicia, I think the first time I ever experienced like seeing a woman with a woman, it was Alicia.
Yes.
I believe. But she came to our apartment in New York, and I had to get out. I guess they were watching the video from me on birthdays, whatever. One of them funny wild videos, whatever. And when they introduced me, Alicia was like, "Oh, that's my girlfriend." And I don't know. I'm like, all right. I didn't look puzzled because I heard the terms and stuff, so whatever. But then the girl was like, "Oh, he don't know what that means." So they wanted her to explain it to me. I was like, "I'm think I'm pretty good. I think I know what it is, right?" And so I don't know if this is a fair assessment or like that, but like, what I guess in your life, right? When was that for you? That transition said like I like women, or was it always like you like women? Because I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know what's so weird is I always thought that I would marry a man or I would be with a man, but I did adore girls. I adored women. I adored how they look, how they dressed. But I thought it was just me trying to figure out me.
Mm-hmm.
I look at their butt, and you know all of that stuff. But so I'm on the fence. I'm bi. But I love who I love. I love who I'm with at the, you know, whoever it is that I'm with.
Now it's her, by the way. Everybody knows. This is she.
right.
This is my baby right here.
Tried to touch your hand real quick, just
so people can know. Let the people know. And so, growing up, you know, that was like a sin, and you don't talk about it. You don't bring it up. And nobody ever says anything. Now, Alicia didn't come out until after she left New York and went to California. So we didn't really find out that Alicia liked women until I was probably 19 years old.
And just for the background, people watching, Alicia actually has a son. She has
a son, yes. And Maurice is 44.
Yeah.
And that's how I found out, because he went to California to live. And then that's when he called me and asked me, "Are you gay?" And I said, "Why would you ask that?" And he said, "Well, because you sleep in the bed with girls." Now, let me clarify, because my friends will just fall out and die right now. I have my own apartment. And so, you know, all your homegirls come through. You all sleep in the bed. I mean, all girls sleep in the bed.
Yeah, definitely.
So it didn't necessarily mean that I liked them or wanted to be with them. That was not the case. It was strictly platonic. And I said, no. I said that we just do that because, number one, it's a one bedroom. So this is the only bed in the house, so we all in the bed together. But then once I moved to California, that's when I was able to come out. That's when I was able to be free and be who I am and love who I want to love, however I wanted to love. Of course, Easter Bell, my mother, and if anybody knows Easter, they know she's off the chain and very outspoken. She said, "You done went to California and went crazy." And I said, "No, I just went to California and became me, or just became happy." And she said, because it was Wano who said, "I'm not going back in the closet. You have to come out." Because I respect my mom that much, I did not want to come out of the closet. Because you hear about what the family says about people, and oh my gosh, she's gay, and you know they really shun it.
She was in the closet about 10 years.
I was in the closet for a long time. She was not my first.
Maybe I'm tripping. So Alicia didn't know?
Alicia knew.
My mom didn't know?
No.
So
I don't know
why. I feel like for some reason I don't know why, but I feel like when I seen you with her, it wasn't shocking to me for some reason. So
really?
I don't know why.
Well, you know, I have some ex-boyfriends who too say the same thing.
Oh, it just wasn't shocking to me. I don't know. I don't know what it was. It wasn't shocking to me. Maybe because I'm open to it. I'm not like, I'm not one of the people that's like, oh, he gay or she. It never bothered me. Like, whatever your life. You know what I'm saying? I never cared. So it's probably that too. I don't know. And then maybe because your family. I just never thought about it. You've
always been a pretty open kid. You love who you love. And, you know, you accept whoever they are. As long
just be yourself.
They're good to you and they treat you good, you've always been that type of person. So
well, her
that's
coming
one
out
thing
story
that I love you to death
involves your grandmother.
Oh, yes. For real? Well, yeah. Ruth talked a lot, so go ahead.
Yeah, so Easter, you know, first thing she said, "You gay." She said, "You better not bring her here." And I said, "Well, that's fine. I don't have to bring her to your house. We can always get a hotel, or I have other family members out there." "No, you can't bring her to New York." I said, "Ma'am, you are not the mayor of New York City. I know you something like the little mayor of Tompkins for 760, right? But you are not the mayor of New York City." And so I said, "But no worries. I will definitely keep her out of your sight because I respect you that much. You are my mom and I love you, and I would never want to offend you. But you do understand that if and when I come there, I won't be able to spend as much time with you because I still have to be there for her."
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, we left it at that. And Easter called Ruth. And she went on with Ruth. "Oh, Nika is gay, and I can't believe it, and I don't like that. And your grandmother," which I am shocked, because I always thought they would be kind of the same. Viola and Thelma, my other aunts, they were more open. They were more loving no matter who you are, no matter what you are. Not saying Ruth wasn't, but I always saw her more as the stern sister
Right,
when
right.
it came to things. And Ruth said, and so what? And that's
That's
still
shocking
your
to me
daughter.
too. That is shocking to me.
Yeah, see? She was like, so what? That's your daughter. You still better love her. And, Easter going on, and Ruth said, that is your daughter. You should love her no matter what. So what? She gave Easter. And so when Ruth told me that, I could not believe it. And I was like, you said that to mommy? And she said, yeah, I don't care. And I said, you don't care? And she said, no, I love you just the same. So
I never heard that story. That's dope. Like it's funny hearing a story that now that she's gone and stuff. But
Yes.
it's like I never would have thought that either because and I'm not. Only time I ever had an encounter with her about something like that was like I'm a loving person, so I love my daughters. I kiss them a lot. Did the same thing. My brother, my sister, I hug them. We kiss a lot, right? So like I would hug Dawn and give him a kiss on the cheek, and she'd be like, "Get out of his face! You acting like a faggot." And I'm like, but she's so old school. That like to her, it's not a bad term. She just like,
Right.
hey, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Right.
yes.
we always close like that. So like that's how we was,
Oh, yeah.
And that's the only time I said, okay, I won't kiss her in front of grandma no more.
Right.
There we go. Got that down pat. Don't want to be called that again. So,
Right.
Right.
but
Yeah.
nah, yeah, it's shocking though to hear that. 'Cause my grandma was real old fashioned. Like she
Very.
real old fashioned.
She was.
So yeah, that is shocking to
Yes.
hear.
I mean, even as I got older, because, I dressed like a boy, so I can see how you wasn't shocked. And some people wasn't shocked. But for me, I'm like, that was the 90s.
I know it
that
sound
was
wild.
the-
You always
that
gave me
was the way you
TLC
dressed.
vibes. I thought it was the TLC
Yes.
total type thing. So
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
For me, it was hard coming into being myself and being a girl and your body and your body type and people looking at you. So I covered up. And then I started to find me when I became a teenager, and I would wear the short skirts and Ruth is just, look at what you got on. Just don't bend over, Nika. Just why you gotta wear that? Why you gotta put that on? And I'm like, well, auntie, because I'm 17, I'm 19 now, and she was just, she just hated it.
But so like when you said, I know you said it took you a while to come out.
Yeah.
So like that time, I guess the term is called being in the closet, right?
Yes.
So during that time, like what's your thought process like? Do you have these short term goals of trying to come out like little by little, or is it like you just kind of staying in there?
It was little by little.
So you have to cover it up
was
a certain
my
time you come.
friends, And, I tell them secretly and talk to them more so than anything. My first 10 years, I always traveled by myself. I always went home by myself. I took my ex-girlfriend once. She and I went. But that was my homegirl.
Gotcha.
That was my roommate.
Like the aunt in the family who just like my best friend.
Yes,
Gotcha.
which I have an ex-boyfriend who I met his mom, and then he was like, "Oh, my aunt lives with us." And then later, when I came out, he then told me
that's
that was
what
my
that-
mom's girl.
Okay.
And I was like, "Get out of here!" So yeah, and he know who he is. But yeah, so slowly but surely, I can't remember how I came out to Tanya, but your mom, she was just like, "So,
Yeah,
and you
she
my
don't
cousin,
really
and I
care.
still love you.
Yeah.
Oh well, And when you bringing her here, we want to meet her too." So the family was fine. And then when we went to New York and I told Easter, I said, "Okay, mommy, well, we coming out there." She said, "Well, where are you staying?" I said, "We got a hotel room. We'll rent a car and everything." And so we were flying in like 5 a.m. So she said, "Well, where are you going to go until you can check into the hotel?" I said, "Oh, we'll ride around. I'll go knock on some doors.
It's New
I have
York,
some
yeah.
friends. I'll wake them up." And she said, "No, come here."
That's
And I
nice.
said, "Come near?" I said, "No, you don't have to do that." I was like, "It's cool. I don't want to force you to do nothing you don't
And
want to do."
then she loved me.
And then she loved her. Right? And she said, "No, y'all can
That's
come
Easter
here."
though. Like that's how she was.
Yeah.
She's so hard on the outside, but she was really soft. Like
yeah,
she loved you. She had a
absolutely.
hug and all that.
And so when we got there and she met Juana, and
We
that was
fell in
it.
love with each
She
other.
was in love with her after that. And it was cool. And then the next time we went to New York, we actually stayed
Stayed
at
with her.
760 Park Avenue and
What?
stayed at her house for that time. Yes, she did. But I know it had everything to do with Ruth Bradley.
That's what's up.
Like letting her know, like, it's not cool. Like, that's your daughter. You want to lose your daughter, or do you want to keep having your daughter? Because eventually you could lose. And I would have never walked away from my mom. I would have had to distance a little bit to respect her and to also respect her.
Because you're so soft spoken, I guess to most people, like, was your experience different from Leisha's? Because she's so rough. I don't feel like people would have gave her pushback. I don't know for being. I don't know for being like girly ever. I never seen her
agree.
like that.
Never. You know what's funny? So I have pictures of Alicia in a dress.
I seen pictures of her. I just
and she got her
it's
nails
shocking
done.
to me.
Yes. and dudes was hollering at Alicia.
I believe it.
And you have a cousin Diane too, who also is gay.
I seen her. Yeah.
And dudes used to holler at them. I remember boys knocking on the door to come and see them, and like you said, Alicia has a son. You know,
I remember walking through Tompkins, like I always felt like she was a bodyguard. She walked through there like I wish somebody would.
Just straight hard body.
She just always rough for no reason. Like I don't know, but she just it just seems sometimes
she's very very
twist my arm behind my back. I'm like, what you got going on, man?
Right.
Like,
She is very aggressive. I think her coming out, she was able to come out to the aunts, so she was able to come out to Viola, Thelma, and Ruth. But I think Alicia is so hard, it wouldn't have mattered who cared. It mattered to me if my mother cared. It mattered to me if my aunts cared or if my family cared. I never wanted my family to look at me horribly or look at me like something was wrong with me because that was the stigma. That's the stigma of the LGBTQ LMNOP community.
Yeah, I don't even know the term, so I always ask y'all. What's the term? I ain't gonna say nothing I don't know.
All the time.
Yes, LGBTQ.
They change.
Yeah, it changes.
Inclusivity.
Yes.
So what about you? Like, because I know your dynamic was a little different. So was it easier for you to come out? Was it harder?
Oh, absolutely not easy. I was brought up in the church.
Oh boy.
Church of God in Christ. You know, deep rooted in the church. Monday through Sunday, I was in church.
I don't know how you did it.
So like all of my life was surrounded by church, and so coming out was a challenge. And I lived in a small community. You know, Racine, Wisconsin. Is a very 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 small community. Everybody know everybody. You know, you couldn't do nothing without anybody knowing. But I'll never like regret my church upbringing. Is what kept me out the streets. You know, it kept me out the streets, so I wasn't exposed to much. So, but when I did come out, I kind of like moved away a little bit. You know, I came out, and then when I was like 18, 19 years old, and then pretty much I kind of moved. So I moved to I started distancing myself more outside of a Racine. So then I moved to Kenosha, and then I moved to
You did the opposite
Chicago.
of her then, like, because you moved.
I moved.
Then came out. Then you came out, then moved.
Right.
But
so
you came out older and you came out younger.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
moved away, and so I went Kenosha, Chicago, Michigan,
Just further
California,
and further.
right? And so I moved away, and I would go back and visit. But I really had a lot of folk that surrounded me in the church that never really judged me. So I had really some really pioneer, you know, community members that really, you know, stood beside me. But I thought that, I wasn't favored by God because, you know, now I'm, you know, not of the church or I'm sinning or things of that nature. And then when I got to California, I got myself back in the faith community. And I've never been a clubber. I've never been a drink. I've never been really one of those folk because we've been in church, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm still on my gospel music kick. I still, you know, go to church and things like that. And so when I got to California, I got involved with the Center for Spiritual Awareness. And, you know, the pastor just really instilled in me, like, God loves you. God is love. You know, God is these things, and he's not an angry God. He's not a God who forgets about you and all those things. And I was like, I reconnected to my spirituality and my faith. It's just my ring. I'll get it. I reconnected to my spirituality and my faith. And honestly, that's what really brought me back to connect to, you know, home, not really like caring about people who judge me because I'm like, only that one up there.
Right.
That's the only one that can judge me. And so then when I met Nika, you know, I was like, I'm not going back. I put too much work in. I love you, but I put too much work in. And I think that it was hard for me to say that to her, you know, but it was also hard for her to take it too. In some way, she was like, what? You mean you giving me this option? But we were so early in our relationship. I was like, man, I've done all of this work that I'm not really, I'm out.
Yeah.
If you date me, people gonna know.
Yeah, like you with me, I'm already out.
Yeah,
so
I'm out. You know, like people are gonna know.
Can't play the auntie game here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But for me, I was okay with it because we're in California. My life is in Brooklyn, so I'm like, it's cool. For
so
me
the
to
hardship
be in
only
the
came
closet.
when it came to holidays. Like you trying to come home. With that when it's hard. Like you feel like
That's when it's hard because I want her to come. I want
Gotcha.
her to come to the holidays, and because like I said, I used to travel by myself, so it was nothing for me to just go to Brooklyn and be Nika.
I never even felt that pressure from her. I never, like, when we got together, it was like she never really showed that she didn't want to be by my side anywhere, any place.
Right.
So it was like the love was there, and she was like, I just want you to meet the world. I don't even care about what nobody say. At this point, Easter Bell knows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Once I told Easter, then I was just like, all right, now we can go
See,
do
so
some
the
things.
dynamic is funny because like you grew up in a church, so you like, once I know that that's fine, I'm good with everything, but you know that God is gonna love me, and he was like, hey, as long as Easter gonna love me afterwards, like we good to go, you know. What I mean? So
Exactly. It was
once I got them out the way, it was all right. Like everybody else was good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Caution
absolutely.
to the wind after that.
So
Yeah.
for you to like, what when you made the decision to come out, prior to that, like how did you find out for yourself that okay, I like girls? Or was it both? 'Cause some people it's both. So I don't know.
Oh my goodness. I knew at 6. I mean, I was liking my teachers, Jermaine.
Oh, me too. So that's good.
You know what I mean?
The girl ones though, but it's all good.
Right, yeah.
We didn't have cute teachers.
I
when
was liking my
growing.
teachers when I was back
Teachers
then,
are
you
older.
know. I think my first realized crush was Whitney Houston, you know, with
Oh.
Bodyguard. You know, my first realized crush. And I would just watch it over and over again. I was like, these feelings, oh my God.
Was
you
she
know,
singing to you?
Right? You know what I mean? Like, so I knew it was something, and I'm like, you're not supposed to think like this.
Yeah.
You in the church. But then, you know, all through, you know, throughout, you know, I have had these feelings. And I spoke about them. I never really suppressed them. I never really was, you know, afraid of those things, but I was afraid of the people I would lose in the midst of it. You know, I was afraid of the people I would lose and that I wouldn't be considered a child of God. You know, I was really, you know, involved in the church. I was a praise dancer. I was, you know, we sung in the choir. You know, my siblings was a part of the church. You know, all of my, you know, my closest family was church pastors.
And
all of those things.
That's why I asked, like, when like, so you younger, you know, and you know it's about yourself, right? But as a girl, as a woman, as a young lady, but when you around your peers, there's certain conversations that be had, right? And like you really can't indulge in them. They might be saying something about, I think she gay, or you know, it's like other terms, like bad terms. I don't want to say them, but some bad terms you would call a woman that like women, right? Like, do you ever feel like, let me just chill, I ain't gonna say nothing yet, or would you ever feel uncomfortable about certain conversation that was had amongst peers that you had because you knew like this could be me they talking about?
Yeah. You know what? See, the thing is, I never really had that challenge. My sister was way more masculine than me, and she wasn't even the gay
You
one.
had it good. You had it
You
good.
know, because
then.
So
We'll just blame her.
I was way more feminine. I was feminine to the end. Like, and I still carry a lot of feminine energy. I'm not a fool like this masculine. I'm not a stud, or I don't have those I don't consider myself with those types of labels. Whatever I feel like wearing, I wear it. You know, whatever I feel like I want to get in, I still wear a dress. I'll still go into church. I'll still, you know, do all those things. So I like the masculine and feminine energy that it, you know, connects with. So I never really had those stigmas. So when I came out, when people found out, it was like, what? Not my sister first, because she's the ball player. You know, she's the tall one. You know, she was the athlete. You know what I mean? Way more than me.
Does she like women too?
Oh yeah, she's out.
Okay.
Yeah, she's completely out. Everybody definitely thought her before me. You know, she was the pool player, pool champ, like dart champ. Like she was, and then when they said me, they was like, what? So she came out way after me.
Got you.
Yeah, and like I said, we was raised in the church. So
I wonder if that's another thing too, like when you say that, because you came out before, so it's like she's smooth sailing now. Now she's just waiting to see what her time is to come out.
Right.
Okay.
True.
Like
true.
you done came out already, and then you moved away, and you got successful in doing this stuff. So.
Exactly. Yep. And then she finally came out and everything like that. So yeah, everybody was shocked with me. So I never had those stigmas around me, or I had never had to hide that, because I still carried a lot of feminine energy, way much more than my sister. She was much more masculine, into sports and stuff. Star, like really a star, like in her, you know, her town, as far as like just doing rap. She like, you know, music, all those different things.
She was
me, I was hung up in the books in church. I mean, she was in the books too, but you know, like, you know, so I really didn't have that problem that you described. So when I came out, they was like, what? My brother actually outed me.
Oh man.
Love him to death, but he the one who outed me. Can you believe my sister is gay? Like he told everybody at the funeral. Okay, my grandmother's funeral.
Oh man.
yeah.
At the funeral.
Yes, at the funeral. Okay,
You got other things going on, man. Come
Right.
on. It's bigger than me, y'all. Come on.
right.
Now.
My brother actually outed me, but it was actually the best thing he could have done. You know what I mean? Because then, everybody was like, "What?" And they were supportive. My immediate family was very supportive, and they was by my side. But then I still feel like I needed to move away. Also, I like to travel, so like
Right.
moving away was something I needed to. I was gonna do probably anyway, but California is really what. It really made me who I am, because it's liberal, but the church that I was in fed back that energy back into me, like love yourself,
Right.
heal from all of that, go to therapy, do all those things from your childhood traumas. And I did all that, put that work in so that I could be the wife I am and be there for her and coming out.
Because California is like a welcoming kind of state, right? Like where you can feel comfortable coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And okay.
Yeah. And especially in the Bay Area.
Right.
Right. I can be myself at work, wherever I am. I was out at work. I was out wherever I was. And so when we met, I was just like, you mean you want me to go back to
reverse
go back
everything?
5-6
Yeah.
years? All that work I put
Just
in.
on the East Coast.
Yeah, and from that, I
West
think
Coast, we good.
we kind of sailed together as a couple, and we got married in the first year
In Brooklyn. Well,
we did. We did.
Sacramento, but then we also went to Brooklyn and made it official and got married
Oh wow.
in Brooklyn.
Because it was laws, I'm not mistaken, at the time. Wasn't it laws that you couldn't marry someplace or you could marry someplace?
And California hadn't broken the law yet, so they was still saying
It did,
no.
and then
Oddly
it was,
enough,
it
right?
was recanted,
which was
remember?
so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And then they recanted it. And so then we were like, okay, well, let's go to Brooklyn. Brooklyn, of all places. And went there.
And was with Easter on our wedding day.
yeah, but she didn't know.
What?
She did not know.
That's still good though. Like,
She still hung with us, and we had,
did you want to tell her? Or was like
I
you
wanted
debated?
to tell her so bad, but
Time
I knew
didn't
if
feel
I
right?
would've told her, oh, it would have. I
It
couldn't
probably
break
would've took
her
her
heart.
over the edge.
Yeah,
I guess you want to ruin the
break
day.
her
The
heart.
day is bigger than that, so you kind of gotta.
And it was enough. We had done enough. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah, just having her
we had a
chilling and
love.
hanging out with her
yeah,
and doing
it
that.
was enough.
That was just enough.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
a better
you gotta
memory.
know when it's too much. You know,
Right,
when
you're right.
when enough is
Yeah.
enough. You know what I mean? Like, she accepted me for who I am. She had full conversations. We
Yes.
was sleeping at her house. Like, what more do you need?
Our family
You know
now.
what I mean? Yeah, what more do you need? And so I was like, let's just go in and have a good time with her. So we spent the day with her after we got married and chilled with her, walked around and shopped and all that stuff. And now we're parents.
I know. Right?
So yeah.
What so like, and y'all can answer individually or together, I don't know. But like what does pride mean to y'all though, like now? Especially with what y'all been through as far as like holding it in, not holding it in, getting outed. Like what is pride to y'all?
Man, that rainbow says a lot. Like it is happy. It really does feel good, and it feels good to see other people be comfortable in their skin as well. Sometimes they be a lot comfortable in their skin when you see all their skin.
I know, right?
But it's awesome because it's empowering. I wish in my teenage years, whether gay, straight, or bi, that I could have been as open and as out as I wanted to be. Because even, at 14, 12, 16, I was still in the closet, not gay, just in the closet as a girl, period. And so pride it's empowerment. It's success. It's love. And that's what I love most about it, and being able to be me.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, like I didn't learn about the rainbow until like way later in life. And, I know we've read a lot of books in school, Stone Butch Blues, all those different things. But pride for me is just like, love is just all there is. It's just period, point blank. That's it. Like love who you love, regardless of what the situation may be. And it's just about being happy about about self. You know what I mean? Right. Being happy about self and being comfortable being in your own skin. Because I agree with you on, like if I could have probably probably for me, if I would have came out and been comfortable in my skin, I'd probably be somebody's pastor now, because I love church. I still love church. I still love God. Like, I still give God, he's the head of my life. You know what I mean? But the thing is I probably would have not separated myself from the love of God, because I felt God didn't love me for a long period
Did you
of time.
kind of deviate?
Yeah, I
Gotcha.
did. You know, I'd probably be a pastor. I'd probably, you'd be pastor's wife or something like that. And I wish I could have done that. But I appreciate that I was able to find a place where they could love me and I could love myself.
Right.
I found that in California. And not just in the state, but the people who were there. They were just about love and inclusivity, the guidelines and the rules at the job, and just being able to be yourself. And so I went through a phase of, I had to find myself again when I moved there. I was dressing different, I was acting different, and then I came back to myself.
Okay, there you
came
go.
Back to my senses, came back to my senses, because at first I was like, I was lost. Think about like this church girl,
right,
who would come into this world where it's like, oh my
small
goodness,
town world,
right? And I'm in California. You know what I mean? And everything like that. So I went through another period of time where I had to find myself. Because remember, I had kids early. So by the time I got to California, Valencia was just turning 18. My brother, he was back at home in Wisconsin. And so I was going through the empty nesters and coming out again, if you think about it. So like, I found myself, and then I found her. Well, she found me.
We found each other.
Yeah, and then we grew together in a lot of ways. I pride to me is just like definitely, self-love.
Yeah. And it's dope hearing that from y'all, right? Because like from my side of it and the spectrum I'm on, I don't look at nothing as normal, but just for the sake of talking like how the world view things, normal to them is obviously men and women, right?
Yes.
But when you think about me, if I was to bring a woman home, right, I'm not thinking about like, oh, they not gonna like her, she's a woman. I already know I'm good there, you know.
Right.
So just whether they think she's pretty, maybe, or and that's not even a big deal, you know.
Right.
But you proud to do it. Like it's just like it's no. You're not down on yourself. You're not thinking what's gonna happen. It's just like, I know I'm coming home. Worst thing can happen is say,
questions.
hey, look, her hair's messed up. Don't bring it, something like that.
Right.
But then when you think about if you are having bringing opposite sex home to a family that hasn't been open to that, it's hard to be proud about that, because like you feel like you letting them down, or if they don't give you the proper response, you're gonna feel like you let them down,
right?
Yeah.
Or you're gonna feel let down, So I was telling somebody the other day, we talked about Pride Month and what pride is, and he I don't put him on the spot, but we did a Father's Day episode, and towards the end of it, I kept it in there too, just to do it, and I asked him, I said, because he has a son, so I was like, what about Pride Month, and talking about that, and he was like, well, what that mean to me? And I'm like, well, I already knew that was kind of hostile. I'm like, well, what I'm saying is like, I wanted to get into ask him like, yo, what if your son, he maybe, like, what if, I didn't get to ask him because he was too hostile a little bit, but his answers to me was like, almost as if he was like, he tried to clean it up a little bit, like, I got gay people in my family, you know what I'm saying? But I just feel like, if you want to be accepted, then why you need all this? Why you need all that? But I was telling him, I said, well, in the same breath, that's like, if black people want to just be considered equal, then we don't need Black History Month. We don't need Juneteenth. Like, you just take any celebration, we take it out.
Yeah.
Independence Day, we take it out. Labor Day, we take it out. Christmas, we take it out and celebrate Jesus in. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to say everybody's going to be normal or treat it regular or whatever. And I was telling myself, well, you got to think of where a lot of people done came from. And back, it was a point in time where if you told somebody you was gay or you like women or you like guys, they probably kill you.
Right.
Yes.
And they could like know you all, they'll stone you to death or something like that. So
right,
I was
or
telling
even
them, like,
someone of a different race.
You got to, it's just celebratory. And I was like, it's not, you looking at it from a standpoint of, if you want to be treated like me, which is, I guess, heterosexual, whatever, right? But I look at it like you celebrating coming from where something's came from. So if it came from where it was a time where you couldn't even talk to your parent about that. Now people letting their kids pick what they want to be at early age. Like, yo, you wear a pink shirt, you wear a purple shirt, I don't care. Like, ain't even too much that's for girls. Do what you want to do, and I'm gonna love you anyway. So it's more of a choosing environment rather than before, like, it kind of pushed you to do something you wanted to do.
Right.
And that's why we focused our foster care on too.
And
like, it's trying to accept, kids who were kind of either shunned away from their family, or who, were trans or who were, pansexual. Kids are so different these days. So
Right.
we kind of focus our foster care around that a little bit, not just that, but, and being able to be that home where we accept
Right.
kids for who they are in the moment that they
yourself.
are through the trauma that they're going through.
That's dope.
And yeah, we still talk to those kids to this day. We've had a couple of trans kids. We had, pansexual kids. You know what I mean? And they are different, definitely different than what we were.
Oh yeah.
Do y'all have
Yeah.
to speak to stuff like that though? I didn't think about that until just now when you said that, because I don't know, and I don't have the ideology, but I've heard it before. I haven't heard it on a first thing basis, but being both of y'all being women, right? Do you ever had to explain to somebody like why people might think y'all fit to raise somebody or to be around somebody, or
Or
do you ever
unfit.
feel like you think about even pride?
That
Think about
part,
pride
too.
in that sense, like y'all together, so y'all already done past that. Jesus no and Easter no, so we good to
Right.
go, right?
Right.
But now, like, well, okay, we gonna raise kids, so now you gotta explain to somebody else, like, oh, should y'all be doing it? I think I heard that somewhere. I don't know where it was, but I remember hearing about, and it could be somebody I know, but they kind of question whether two women can raise. I was on a pod. I was on
Two
it.
women or two men?
And I told
Yeah.
myself, well, that don't make sense to me because you got single women that do it, and he was like, well, name a kid who's I guess okay or whatever, I don't know, and had two moms in his life, and I was like, well, it's kind of silly because I know a lot of kids that didn't have a dad and like they just had one mom, so why wouldn't two be better? Like
That's right.
it didn't make sense to me,
Right.
But I get what they was trying to say, but
Right.
it didn't make
Yeah.
sense because you're not thinking all the way through.
Right.
Yeah, and that's definitely a question that comes up where people feel just because it's two women or two men that you can't raise a child the right way, or the fear is you'll raise that child to be gay as well.
Right.
That one really cracks me up. Like, so really? So just because the kid sees two men or two women, they will eventually become
Right,
gay?
right.
Like, no, it doesn't happen that way. And you can be raised by two women still, a mother and a grandmother.
True. I
All the
wasn't
time.
even
So
raised
it's-
by my
it's-
mama,
it's
Jermaine,
the
and she
same
gay.
love.
See
My
that?
mom, I wasn't even raised by my mom. My mom's gay. You know what I mean? I wasn't even raised by her.
So one don't have to go with the other. That's why. And
Right.
That's my
Two
thing.
out
You
of
know.
her 4
It
kids.
doesn't.
None of us was raised by her, so it don't
does
have nothing
not.
to do with that. Yeah, but we get that a lot, and we get. But I think it also depends on how closed in or how close minded folk are, or being in an environment like California, it's like they are looking for families, that will be accepting of children for who they are, because a lot of them are put out the house, or a lot of them are homeless
Yeah.
for that reason, and then they turn to other people, they turn to drugs, they turn to all these different things, and it's just about love. That's all they need is love.
Yeah.
And so we've opened our home to that, but we get that all the time.
Yeah, and our foster agency, when they do have children that are going through the transition or figuring themselves out, whatever it is, they do think of our house first. They'll
That's
call
dope,
us
see?
first, like, oh, we have this 17-year-old and he or she is trans, or we have this 13-year-old, he or she is figuring it out, and we think your home will be a great fit because we understand, we get it.
Got you.
We know how to nurture those types of children.
And you think under the old-fashioned guideline, like how detrimental would it be to that kid if you to put him in a house where they can go to church and feel like he or she is doing is
Oh,
wrong,
yes.
and try to force him to be one way rather than just letting him be himself. And
Oh yes, and we get those kids when they do come to our home. They explain to us exactly that house that they just came from, where the woman is old school, and you can't wear this, and you can't look like that, and you can't do this, and you have to go to church with us. The great thing about foster care is we cannot force children to go and believe our religious beliefs.
Got you.
So if that child doesn't want to go to church, we can't force them to go to church.
okay,
And so, which we do. We have a kid now that's with us, and she doesn't go to church. And, all right, bye. See you later. We'll be home in a little while. And she stays home, and she's cool with it, But we can't force. But we do hear the stories.
and that's why I think like if you think about pride, it's so much more than just somebody being gay, or I don't know the term for it, or somebody liking the same sex. You think about that, you got to be proud to even go that further step,
Right,
to
true.
becoming a family, because then you got to
Right.
explain
Oh,
to
yes.
everybody else. But it makes it easier to explain to people when you are proud of what you are, because you can either say, hey, F off, I don't care what you think, or you can just tell them like, and you're proud of saying what you're saying, you know.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And educating people is definitely the way. I don't mind sitting down and having that conversation and doing that banter back and forth.
Definitely.
Because ignorance it's a real thing out here. And
Definitely.
people, you can have your own belief. That's my thing. If that's what you believe, that's fine. Just don't be disrespectful. Just be considerate of the people and how they feel and the lifestyle that they live. Because my lifestyle it should not impose on yours. You are who you are. I'm going to still love you no matter what. If you're gay, you're straight, you're bi, whatever it is that you choose to be in your life, that's you. And I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
So I only got a few more questions, but one more. But I know you said like you dress how you want to dress. You don't subscribe to this, that, and third. Do you ever feel pressure for people making you subscribe to something like? Cause y'all could play wife and wife, or I don't know. Like people might say,
we get it all the time. Who the girl? Who the boy? Who,
that's what
who
I'm.
wears the pants? Who
I ain't know
does
the terms.
that?
I just kind of
like
Right.
especially
dance around it.
if I'm dressed up girly for the day and I choose, or I'm coming from work, from a meeting or whatever, when we choose to go out to the bars, we'll have the guys talking to us, and I'm like, well, just get us both drinks. You know what I mean? You know,
Right. We both women.
yeah,
Just everybody
you know,
gets a drink.
definitely the questions. First thing is, are y'all sisters?
Yes.
Y'all look just
wow.
alike.
Yes. And we like, they trying to segue.
They're
into
just trying to
asking.
figure it out,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Let me
all.
help you out. You know what I mean?
So people, it's like people got the auntie thing. People got the questions where they ask y'all, like they asking y'all, but they're not asking y'all. So the
Right.
sisters is
Right.
Okay.
Especially if
Yes.
we don't look gender conforming. Like if I'm girly for the day or something like that, they'll ask, are y'all sisters? Y'all look just alike. I mean, I know we're starting to look alike and everything like that. And I always let her answer. And I'm like, you know, let her answer. She
Yeah.
and she'll be like, no, this is my wife, you know, or whatever. Or I'll be like, babe, just go ahead and get the drinks. You know what I mean? Bring two back. You know what I mean? You know, so no, it's you gotta just make fun out of it. Some people take it the hard way, I think, but like
Yeah.
some people are being inquisitive, nosy, and some
Right,
people
right.
just want to know the answer, and so we'll just give it to them, you know, just give them the answer or whatever. But if I'm in a masculine attire, we really don't have those questions.
Got you.
Yeah. They
It's,
Makes
it's pretty
sense.
much they get it, or they'll be surprised that she with me if I'm in masculine clothes, and so they'll be, who is that? You know,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then, oh, that's cool. Oh, all right.
Right.
You know, like I like women too, and it's just like
I know, right?
like,
Yeah.
So corny. So-
right? And it don't bother me at all. It
You
don't
don't seem like you get bothered about too much. So
no,
I feel like it
it
take a lot
don't
to
bother
bother
me
you.
at all.
totally unbothered. Totally.
I get that vibe from you. So
Yeah, it don't
feel it.
it don't bother me at all. Like I get it. You know, you trying to figure it out. You know, she cute. You know, that's good. You know, that's good. I don't have an ugly one on my shoulder.
I say
know
the
what I
same thing. Somebody say I don't care. As long as,
You know?
I prefer that honestly because I
Yeah.
feel weird. Somebody that hit you out like, damn, I got an ugly girl on my shoulder. Nobody ever try to talk to
Like,
her.
don't
Like
nobody.
nobody.
Yeah,
Yes,
and I don't have a
yes.
problem too. Like no matter how I'm dressed, guys still talk to me
Yes,
too.
they do.
Oh, they gonna do it every
Yeah.
time. Right? Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, yes, they do.
Guys
Yeah.
are savages. They don't care.
Right. They
Yeah,
still
dudes
talk
don't
to me
care.
too. So like I don't have a problem either. So it go both ways.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
The last question I want to ask y'all is and y'all can't say how you want to answer, but what do y'all have? What would y'all say to anybody who is struggling with something like that, far as coming out, far as being prideful, becoming what they self, they know what they like, but they scared to tell their parent. Maybe they're old fashioned. Maybe they don't have the same parent they feel like gonna be receptive to it. Maybe they are in the church and it's like they shunning them from that. So like, what do y'all have any advice for them? What they should do, as far as
For
being comfortable?
me, for the parent, because she has the church aspect of it. I say, rip it off, because rip it off like a Band-Aid, but be respectful, and sit down and have a whole conversation with that person or your family or whomever it is that you're afraid of coming out to, because if you stay in that closet, you're really unhappy because you're not being the best you, and you're just hiding, and you just won't have any real happiness. You'll be happy at the things when you're out and about and you're doing what you do, but when you're around your family or around your friends, the people that love you, you want to get that love. And it's just like, rip that off. Tell your family, tell your mom, tell your dad. Will they be disappointed? Possibly. But let them know that you still love them. You're still going to respect them, and you'll wait. And that was the one thing I said to Easter. I'll wait. I'll wait until you're ready. You know, I'm not going to stop seeing you. I'm not going to disrespect you. I am going to completely give you your space, but I'll be here whenever you're ready to accept. Because I love you and you're my mom. And so I want every person out there to feel like, go ahead and rip it off. It's going to be totally fine. They'll come back. They may stray away. They may disown you. But eventually, they'll come around. And if they don't, then it's their loss, because you have to be happy. People have already lived their lives, so you have to live yours.
Mm-hmm. And if it's not even that easy, you know what I mean? For some folk, it's not that easy. You know, that's their source, you know, their source of food, clothing, and shelter, and they're not able to make that decision. Then, you know, try to find a circle, a safety circle, someone that you can trust, that you can let some of that outlet out. Maybe a therapist, a counselor.
Therapist is good.
You know, there's so many resources out there. I can't name them all, but you know, there are resources out there in your local town where you can go and have an outlet, someone that you can talk to, because that's the part, is when you're holding it in, you know what I mean? We start to find other places where we're gonna let it out, and sometimes those might not be the safest places.
Gotcha.
And so in order to do that, to be able to keep your source and your resources, you might not be able to come out right now. You might have to wait till you're grown, or you might have to wait till your parents not paying for college. But that doesn't mean you know, hide who you are. Try to find a circle where you can, you know, show some self-love, you know, show some outlet of you know, care for yourself, to be who you are, until you can do it at the right moment and at the right time. Because you know, sometimes ripping the Band-Aid off isn't as easy as said than done when you're leaning to someone as your source. And so yeah, if you can't, finding a circle, finding someone at the church that you could trust, or someone at the local school that you can trust, or something like that, or in the community that you can trust, because trust is a key word.
Because your little brother told on you, so
he did.
Right. Look at that trust.
Well, and maybe he trusted those folk. You know what I
maybe
mean?
he said, look, he put Band-Aid off for you. Like, we're gonna do it today, man.
Right. Here is the Band-Aid. He was like, let me do this for you, because you is living in bondage. You know what I mean? And that's just how he is. He loved his sister. Right. He loved his sister. Right. He loved his big sister, you know, and he liked my little big brother, and my son at the same time. And so yeah, safety net, safety zone.
You definitely need the safety net.
And don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, and get therapy, and that's to anybody, and especially my African Americans.
Definitely.
Please, therapy is okay. It does not mean that we're crazy. It does not mean that we're... It's always great to have a neutral party that can just kind of help you see things from a different standpoint. Get that therapy. It works. I promise you, it really does.
For sure.
So, yes.
Look, man, I appreciate you for stopping by. I'm glad I was able to do it this way. I wasn't going to do that shit. I was going to stop. And then I was sitting in a room, and I was sitting next to you, and I was like, oh, look. I remember they asked to come on one time, and I couldn't do it. So I said, maybe... Oh, it's in this problem, so it just worked out perfect.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna get it done
It's our
today.
pleasure.
Yes,
Nah, this was good. This was
we are
good.
honored that you asked.
I appreciate
It's funny
you.
when I saw all the other podcasts, I was like, yeah, so when I get down there, I'm sure open here.
That's typically how I do it. My family is so interesting. Like I love my family. It's interesting. Like those are my favorite ones, because like I get to illustrate things to them, because I know stuff, and I get to let them talk about it. You know? So I like doing the episodes with my family, ones that will talk. So it's dope to do that though. Like I love it.
For sure.
Awesome.
No, this is dope.
Thank you.
You are definitely dope.
I appreciate that.
For sure. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of all you guys, but I'm proud of you for sure.
Me more. All right, Morning Masters podcast. We out. Thank you.
All right.